Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as we talk to this lady over here, who's apparently fixing a boat, according to, what was her name? Cindy, I think, that we talked to last episode?
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out her hand over the railing. What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
Yes, I'm gonna shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
Also like who she represents and what she represents.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame.
He opens his notebook.
My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
No way.
How interesting.
She turns to you unfazed.
I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
That's a weird line. You corresponds to the we. When I ask you, what do, you can assume that I'm asking we, as in you, in verse, right? Is this supposed to be, what do ye do? The singular you? Is that what it is? Ye? I don't actually know if it's ye, the singular you. And I don't know. Yeah, what do they do then? I suppose you, but whatever.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing.
She points to the small dots on the horizon.
See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things.
Then to the east, towards the arbor.
And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Who are the other Indo-tribes?
Son Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
It seems like you're in good company.
Why, thank you.
She does not register the real meaning of the remark. How much money does Wild Pines have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
A billion?
That's it? I thought Wild Pines was supposed to be big time.
And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions.
A wave hits the sloop. She grasps the mainstay for balance.
Wild Pines employs 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility.
Where does Wild Pines get all these billions?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavour. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
What does such a huge system want with a place like this? And I'm gonna look around.
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners,
She gives you a little smile.
who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
8% of all cargo in the world. That's quite the endeavor indeed. She nods forcefully.
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
And I also got a thought. The 15th Indo tribe. Wild Pines, Feld, Coupry, Tricentennial, Villiers, and La Salle. Names of Revacholian Indo tribes spring into your head, set loose at the mention of Wild Pines. Royal monopolies, octopuses, and swordfish, most of them gone now. YBP, Expander, Saint Baptiste, Brightest Star, LUM, Resplendent, maybe? East Insulindic, Welter, and Elcaset. But isn't one missing? Wait, no. There were only 14. Then why do you feel like there was a 15 in the tribe? I'm gonna internalize this, mostly because I know who she is and what she represents. And because I'm trying to go for the ultra-moralist or whatever. She does represent that. And, free market capitalism sort of thing. And that's why some of the lines that I had access to were already in... I could already have said stuff against that if I wanted to go elsewhere with my political compass, I suppose. Although, compass might be a bit of an exaggeration. Because 3 of them are pointing in one direction. So that's that one over there. We still have access to these, which is great. And right now, we don't have any temporary research bonuses, which is fine enough. Because at least it doesn't have a downside. But yeah, you're on a boat.
Why, yes I am.
She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Does she have a name?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Yeah, but okay, what kind of boat is it?
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
That does hint that she actually has used it for racing herself. And that explains why she was fixing it herself as well, instead of having somebody else fix it for her. Which you'd expect, maybe, for somebody with, a machine as expensive as this. How do you like it?
My sloop? I like it a lot.
Her lips curl into a wry smile.
It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Yes, Kim. Do you have a license for this boat?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Qualified pleasure craft operator. So charming. Where's the damn license?
Shut up, Half-Light. That's good enough for me.
Why wouldn't it be? This is Revachol, Wayfare Act and all. Anyone can drive a boat.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people on boats, though, are there?
Of course there are.
She looks around.
We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait, what do you mean archipelago?
I mean, we are on Le Caillou, are we not?
She raises her brow. I still haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually,
The lieutenant becomes defensive.
that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this.
The woman pats the cabin hardtop.
A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
I think I have a handle on the boat thing.
Good.
She takes a sip of her thermal cup. Thermal cup? That's not... Thermos? It's not a thermal. Is it a thermal cup? I mean, if it's sci-fi, it is. And this game does have things that don't exist in real life. Yeah, thermos doesn't... I mean, yeah, they're sort of... Anyway, what can you tell me about this strike?
Everything.
She smiles.
Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Wait, what if I want to hear about those trade secrets?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Wouldn't want to disturb an octopus, better let it be.
I am glad you see it that way. To repeal the act would mean repealing the coalition government, the one that leases you the right to police West Revachol. But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Yeah, what is your role in this, precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Racist behemoth? Tell us more about this behemoth.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos.
She pauses.
A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
So the strike is connected to the lynching?
Yes, I believe there is a connection. But that's a subject for later.
Her eyes narrow. How were the talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago.
She thinks.
Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
He looks at his notes.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
And we have a choice to be political here. It seems like they have no idea about business.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Most of them probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
The workers can't be kings, the king is king.
That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start.
She's actually misrepresenting their demands, I think. Although not quite, not by a huge extent. Which would make sense because they're in negotiations and she might not know exactly what they want. But I believe we'll learn more later, so I'll just let it be for right now. But let's put a pin into what she just said about that, about what exactly they want. What are you going to do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me,
The lieutenant looks up from his notes.
from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates.
Her reply comes quick.
The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
Reaction speed talking for me. We have not met Call Me Mañana yet. But we have heard of him. We'll talk to him in a little bit. So what happened to this, Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it?
She pauses to compose herself.
Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Not cool.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the Union.
Tell me about this Union boss, Mr. Clare.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Really?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick him with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
You sound like you're about to take a rapier to him.
Oh, heavens no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin.
She stops and smiles. Is he that bad?
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait, there are two of him?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
Interesting. Edgar has a lazy eye. I forgot about that detail.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the Union itself outside the brothers, Claire?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
She hesitates, looking for the right expression.
A mob.
The lieutenant says succinctly.
The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer.
She nods.
The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother.
She turns to you.
And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see.
She explains.
Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
A giant leech sucking the life out of Revachol.
Indeed. And a hungry one.
She nods.
Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
The scabs at the gate, did you put them there? And if you don't know what a scab is, that's a slang term for strike breaker. Well, for picket line breaker? Is that what? How does? So that wasn't a picket line. What we saw at the gates, that was scabs. There was people. That's why they were talking about right to work. They wanted to break the strike rather than they weren't striking. They were trying to break it.
The scabs?
She raises her brow.
You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock come to plead for work where the Union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
You're right, I don't know what got into me. Some of that degenerate dock worker lingo has rubbed off, it seems. She gives you a crooked smile.
If the workers were organised by Wild Pines, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
One more thing, you said something happened in the elections?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Polly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the Union's files.
Eerie.
Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a Union matter.
Was it?
The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, man. We'll be just fine.
Yes, that's all I need here. Let's change the topic.
Of course. How else can I help?
She passes the thermal cup between her gloved hands. Thermal cup, incidentally, ceramic. Cups are made of ceramic because ceramic is really good at preventing heat from passing from one side to the another. Like, for example, if they were made of metal, not any metal, but, for example, aluminium or iron, they would be really bad at preventing heat transfer or thermal transfer. Either way, what can you tell me about this lynching?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves.
The lieutenant hands her a piece of blue plastic.
I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41.
He points to you.
I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious.
She returns the lieutenant's badge and turns to you.
Why is that, Detective?
Remember when my partner told you I had recently suffered from a unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to that.
I see.
She looks increasingly worried.
So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Yes.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
Yeah, it's possible. After a night of heavy drinking, I lost all memory of my life and the world.
Oh, dear.
She sighs with confusion, sadness, even.
Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am,
The lieutenant interjects.
his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
How do I negotiate my way out of this? I can ask my suggestion. We also have a quest over here. Joyce info on the lynching. So, I have a skill point, and I will go up on suggestion. That's what my pens are here for. I have a lot of points. Charm men and women. Play the puppet master. We can do this. We can do this. Our psyche isn't very good, though. But we do... bonus from items. That sucks. Yeah. Let's see. 42. Let's see what happens. How do I negotiate my way out of this?
Feelings will guide the way.
But madam, I need to know about this lynching. It's very important to me. It's the case I'm solving.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
You don't understand. It's not like a side case for me. This is my main thing.
Trust me, officer, I am fully committed to resolving this impasse. This isn't some side gig for me.
You have so much else. I only have this. And I'm going to spread my hands. This is the entirety of my existence.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
This boat, for example. In a home somewhere, I only have this case.
Officer.
The carbon fiber hull creaks. I don't remember anything except this lynching. There's only this coast, and this lynching.
You know...
She puts her foot on the guard wire.
I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible.
Like what?
The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective,
The lieutenant closes his notebook.
a word in private before we continue.
Excuse us for a moment, madam. Now you want to talk in private.
Wow, you work hard.
I do?
Oh, yes. You hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide.
What hard work do I do exactly?
Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride.
I fucking ride till I die, bitch.
That's just what it's like. Life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco-Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer.
I guess I've made some gills, sure.
Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich?
No, I'm actually not.
That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that?
Fucking, I don't know how all these lines... This is a very, very important issue that the game takes on over and over again. Well, I'll say over and over again, but at least 3 times off the top of my head, this game takes this on. This issue of working and still not being rich, or vice versa. But I don't know if the fucking taxes, man... Okay, this is the fascist one. This is the libertarian one. The system is broken is obviously the communist, and it's because of that guard guy riding my ass being... That's the moralist one, I think. I have so much trouble distinguishing between the moralist one and the neoliberal. I might get confused about those all throughout the game. I'm gonna go with this one because that is what I'm trying to be. Fucking taxes, man.
That's right. 100%. Fucking G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze.
Really? Every time I sneeze?
Every time you wipe your ass. They got their direct and their indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax, alimony. One tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you. Here, total tax duties add up to 98% of all your money.
I think this is where we finally get access to the political things wherever they show up. This is what I was looking for. No fucking way. I guess I'm a free market fundamentalist now.
Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. Free the people. Keep it real. Keep it street. Keep foaming at the mouth furiously on the tax issue.
Oh, savoir-faire, you fucking asshole. Indirect mode of taxation. First, if you have a side bitch ideology cooking somewhere, don't sweat it. Fighting indirect taxation for the Gossamer state is compatible with all creeds. It's cool like that. You're a cool anarchist now. Unless you don't want to be an anarchist. Whatever. Stuff this meal ticket in your eye socket, and let's see if we can steal some love back from the robber barons at the customs agency and the banditos at the Incidentally Financial Oversight and Competition Committee. Oh, lovely. This is all a critique of people being basically not looking at the system. That's basically what it is. Yeah, that's what that is right there. We got -2 to empathy because we're cold-blooded. The research time is not that big, though. Let's see if I can do anything about that. I think I might not be able to. Oh, wait. I need skill points to internalize these. I need to unlock slots. Right. I knew I only had 3. These definitely look like the slots that I had. Oh, that sucks. We're gonna need to level up a little. Kim.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
The lieutenant's voice is hushed. Yep, it isn't. But we're out of time for the day. So for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.